100 years ago, countless spatial rifts opened up above the Earth and fierce dimensional beasts invaded the planet, threatening humanity's survival. However, the dimensional energy that leaked out of these rifts caused humans to awaken unique abilities known as talents. Amongst these talent awakeners, some people have awakened god-like abilities like super strength, or the ability to make oneself completely invisible, or being able to summon monsters that will obey your every command. Thus, humanity has plunged into an era of the talents, where the strong live prosperous lives and the weak are mere cannon fodder. Meanwhile, in an ordinary-looking apartment, Yi Tian was wistfully staring out of his bedroom window when he heard his sister noisily shout from outside his room, "Hey brother, did you awaken your talent?" Yi Tian ignored as he intently stared at a rock-like object in his hand that had a faint yellow energy flickering around it. Damn, a weak tier talent? Doesn't that mean I'm screwed for the rest of my life? If I can't become a martial warrior, how am I supposed to protect my sister in the future? At that moment, Yi Tian's sister impatiently burst through his door. "Brother, how did your talent evaluation go?" A dull expression appeared on Yi Tian's face. "It was excellent, of course. Don't worry, your big brother will definitely become a super powerful martial warrior." Upon hearing this, his sister leapt in the air brimming with joy. "I knew it, my big bro is the best." As she then left his room, telling him that she made his favorite dishes as a celebration, a strange system-like interface suddenly appeared in front of Yi Tian. Yi Tian stood there completely dumbfounded while reading the information it was displaying. Yiyu, low-tier cultivation talent, low-tier unawakened frost talent. Out of curiosity, he reached his hand out to touch the system window, but it suddenly began shaking unstoppably as if it was trying to refresh the data. Seconds later, a new system window popped up. Yi Tian, weak-tier cultivation talent. As he was completely immersed in examining the system, his sister impatiently grabbed his hand. "Come on brother, the food is gonna get cold." However, the moment that their hands made contact, a strange purple aura that only Yi Tian could see suddenly enveloped them. The system window began flickering again, startling Yi Tian. Seconds later, a new window popped up, showing his sister Yiyu's stats. However, this time, it gave him the options to copy them. Yi Tian stood there in complete shock. Copyable? What does that mean? But then, as if a spark of hope had been lit inside of him, he realized, if I can copy other people's talents, that means my situation isn't completely hopeless anymore. While he walked into his living room to eat the food his sister prepared, he pondered, damn, this talent copying ability is truly miraculous, but I shouldn't use my sister as a guinea pig to test it on. After all, her frost talent is extremely rare and she'll be able to become incredibly strong once she awakens it. Yi Tian then sat down and breathed a sigh of relief. "Dad, Mom, if you guys are watching this, you can rest at ease now." Later that day, in the bustling city, Yi Tian was walking through the streets, cloaked in a dark black hoodie which was hiding his face. His eyes then immediately flashed with a hint of anticipation. "Alright, let's test out this ability." At that moment, a radar-looking energy burst out from where he was standing, and he could suddenly see all the talents of the people near him within a 3-meter radius. However, after seeing all the low-tier talents around him, Yi Tian's expression looked seemingly dissatisfied. "Damn, these talents are all pretty bad. I have to copy a mid-tier talent at least." A couple minutes later, Yi Tian arrived at the Linhai Base's 5th Academy, surrounded by battle-hardened warriors, clad in expensive-looking armor. This is the place. There must be quite a lot of people with mid-tier talents in this academy. But with the copy talent I awakened, I'll definitely become stronger than all of them in the future. In the blink of an eye, 10 days passed. At a teaching area in the Linhai Base 5th Academy, one of the teachers explained, "If you want to become a martial warrior, first you have to become a martial apprentice. But to do this, you must learn the body training technique that I will be teaching you." Yi Tian sat there in a meditative position with a tense expression on his face. It turns out that to successfully activate the body training technique, you need to be able to create an air vortex in front of your chest. At that moment, the chubby student sitting beside Yi Tian nervously shouted, "Teacher, someone just passed out." But the teacher sneered indifferently, "Ignore these useless pieces of trash. Don't even consider becoming a martial warrior if you can't even master the body training technique." A cold sweat ran down Yi Tian's face. "How can this be? I can't create the air vortex at all. Is my cultivation talent too low?" But before he could continue practicing, the teacher abruptly ended the class. "That's it for today. You guys are the worst class of students I've ever taught in my entire life." As the teacher walked away, he glanced back at them with a disdainful look. "I hope you guys follow the example of Chendong. Maybe that will keep your motivation up even if just a tiny bit." Meanwhile, as Yi Tian walked through the courtyard with Fatty, he asked curiously, "Zhang Bao, who is Chendong?" Fatty then explained, "That guy isn't an ordinary person. It took him only half a month to become a martial apprentice. Now the principal personally took him in as a disciple." "Wow, his talent level must be pretty high then," Yi Tian remarked. Fatty then pulled out a slip of paper with a smug grin on his face. He. "Guess what this is?" "Is that his signature?" Fatty then proudly replied, "Once Chendong gets as strong at the principal, his autograph would probably sell for a few months of my living expenses." Yi Tian merely smiled wryly, without adding anything. However, both of them suddenly turned their heads as they saw a crowd of people gathered together, taking photos like paparazzi. It was Dong, and the girls around him were all pleading to get his autograph and take a photo with him. Upon seeing this, Fatty adopted the stance of an Olympic athlete, sprinting towards him. "Mr. Chen, please sign me another autograph." At the same time, Yi Tian's lips curled into a devilish grin as if he had just found his next prey. So he's the Dong everyone's talking about. His system window then popped up. Dong, mid-tier cultivation talent. Dong, who was relishing in the attention he was receiving, then told everyone, "Alright, chill out everyone. I'm only here today on behalf of the teachers to encourage everyone to keep up their cultivation, so let's forget about photos and autographs since I might become a laughingstock if my friends find out." Yi Tian, feigning an innocent expression, calmly suggested, "Then, can we shake your hand instead?" Upon receiving Dong's approval, the group of students patiently lined up and they each graciously shook Dong's hand as if they were receiving the Buddha's blessing. Moments later, Dong reached out his hand to the next person in line. "Mister, it's your turn." A cold smirk crept up on the corner of Yi Tian's mouth. As soon as their hands made contact, the same purple energy from earlier surrounded their hands. Yi Tian quietly watched Dong's receding figure as a hint of determination crossed his face. "I got it." Later that night, deep in the forest of the 5th Academy on a dark and rainy night, Yi Tian's system window popped up. "Mid-tier cultivation talent has been successfully copied. Would you like to fuse?" Yi Tian sat there in a dimly lit cave in deep thought. "I wonder what will happen if I fuse Dong's ability." After a moment of deliberation, Yi Tian decided to take his chances and fuse the ability. Immediately after, a pleasant green energy surrounded his body, but suddenly, he felt a sharp pain throughout his entire body as he clenched his chest in pain. "Damn, why is it like this? Why is talent fusing so excruciatingly painful?" A few minutes later, Yi Tian was heavily panting with cold sweat running down his face after the treacherous ordeal he had just experienced. His system window then popped up, now showing his newly acquired mid-tier cultivation talent. Yi Tian's lips curled into a satisfied grin as he remarked, "Changing my talent and being reborn brand new is worth the pain." However, his expression suddenly changed as he noticed a new system window pop up. "Copy talent cooldown. Time left, 30 days. Yi Tian was shocked. "Doesn't this mean I can continue copying talents after every 30 days? This is absolutely incredible." After this, he immediately sat down to try the body training technique again, and to his surprise, he effortlessly conjured the air vortex this time. "Damn, the body training technique is so much easier to activate now that I have a mid-tier cultivation talent. Forget about just being a martial warrior. With this copy talent, I can become an elite martial warrior, or maybe even reach the great martial warrior realm." Just like that, 1 month had already passed and the pale moonlight was shining through the thick clouds looming over the city. In the sky, a ferocious wolf-like beast was moving at an incredible speed. Meanwhile, Yi Tian was casually strolling through the city as he pondered, "Although I'm now a martial apprentice, I still have a long way to go to become a martial warrior. Not to mention that Dong has one-on-one lessons with the principal, so he must be improving faster than me." As Yi Tian was still lost in his train of thought, a shadow suddenly flickered behind him and instantly killed the man he had just walked past. The little girl was distressed, shouting her father's name. It turns out, this was the wolf from earlier, who was glaring at them with its demonic-looking eyes. Everyone nearby was in a panic. "It's a monster, run. It just killed someone." But Yi Tian was standing still looking surprised. "So that's what a monster looks like." The wolf monster then pounced towards the little girl, but Yi Tian swiftly scooped her up and dodged the attack. As he was desperately trying to run from it, he didn't notice that a burly-looking man with a longsword was descending from the sky at an alarming speed. The man slashed his sword towards the monster, leaving a devastating crack in the ground. And with an unwavering look in his eyes, the man heroically said, "I apologize for coming late." As Yi Tian was unsure of the man's identity, he proudly replied, "Everyone calls me Captain Galewolf." Glancing at Yi Tian with an assuring look, he instructed him to go protect the little girl while he handles the Silver Moon Wolf. Captain Galewolf then confidently rushed towards the wolf. His sword collided with its dagger-like fangs, causing sparks of energy to flicker around them. He gritted his teeth as he remarked, "Damn, it's pretty strong." As expected of a Silver Moon Wolf, its speed is not to be underestimated. But don't forget that I have teammates. At that moment, a group of seasoned-looking fighters leapt off a nearby building, aiming to ambush the wolf. The Silver Moon Wolf barely avoided their surprise and began running away, feeling it was outmatched. Captain Galewolf and his team immediately darted after it, like arrows piercing through the air. After being jointly attacked from both sides by Captain Galewolf's team, the Silver Moon Wolf was critically injured. One of the men hurriedly asked, "Has it died?" But Captain Galewolf's face suddenly tensed as if he sensed something immense. miss. Sure enough, the wolf then howled, emitting a shockwave which sent the group flying back several meters. It immediately began sprinting through the city at a speed indiscernible to the human eye, and its fur had now also turned a blood-red color. Upon seeing Etienne's concern, Captain Galewolf coldly smirked. "Don't worry, it ain't going anywhere." As the wolf raced through the city, looking like a bolt of lightning with a will of its own, a silhouette could be seen in the distance atop one of the buildings. The woman then readied her bow with a hint of determination flashing in her eyes. "I've been waiting for you." As the arrow was released from its bow, the silver moon wolf's pupils widened, sensing the impending danger. At that moment, it was hit cleanly on its back, falling to the ground with a motionless body. Captain Galewolf peered down at the wolf, feeling a sense of dominance. You're still too weak to fight against us." Etienne, who was watching the group from afar, suddenly had a shocked expression on his face as the system window popped up. It read, "Silver Moon Wolf Monster, Low Tier Blood Talent, Novice Tier Speed Talent." It turns out that talent ratings are rated with weak tier being the lowest, then low tier, then novice tier, then mid tier, and finally the strongest being high tier talents. As Etienne continued looking on in shock, still dumbfounded that monsters had their own talents and even his system could copy them, he noticed that the wolf's claws were slowly starting to twitch. Before he knew it, the wolf had fully recovered, yet Captain Galewolf's team were still unaware. "Hey guys, look out, it's still alive. Back off now." The entire group was immediately startled as the wolf let out an ear-piercing roar. Damn, monsters are indeed terrifying and so tenacious. "Captain, what should we do?" But Captain Galewolf calmly replied, stating that the wolf was only in a weakened state. Glancing back at Etienne, he sternly told him to leave the area immediately and find somewhere safe. But to his surprise, Etienne was standing there motionless, as if he was completely absorbed in his own thoughts. His mouth then curled into a wicked smile. "This is the perfect opportunity for me." He then sprinted towards the wolf, startling Captain Galewolf, and he then clenched his fists, preparing to strike. Etienne then landed a devastating punch on the wolf with so much force that it created a whistling sound in the air as he swung. At that moment, a system notification sounded. The monster's talent has been successfully copied. As the Silver Moon Wolf was on its last legs, making a desperate attempt to escape, Etienne mercilessly began throwing more punches at it, leaving it no time to rest. His eyes were gleaming red, just like the monster, and it almost seemed as if he was enjoying beating it. Captain Galewolf then forcefully stopped him. "Hey kid, it's already dead." Meanwhile, as Captain Galewolf's team cleared away the monster core and handled the little girl, he looked at Etienne with an encouraging expression. "Farewell young man, I look forward to seeing you in my Galewolf squad once you become a martial warrior." Etienne was elated after being recognized by the captain, and he earnestly nodded in agreement. Later that night, when Etienne arrived at home, he gazed at his sleeping sister with a soulful expression. "You, today was the first time I saw a monster with my own eyes, and it was 100 times more terrifying than in the stories. In order to protect my little sister, I must become a martial warrior as soon as possible." As he then opened the door to his bedroom, he sat on the edge of his bed, intently examining his system interface. "I wonder if the talents of monsters can be fused with the human body." After pondering this, his eyes narrowed with a hint of determination. "Even though this talent fusion will be more painful than my last one and it could even threaten my life, I need to become stronger to protect the people important to me, no matter what it takes." A notification then sounded. "Speed talent, initiating copy." Moments later, he was biting down on a rag, feeling an overwhelming pain surge through his body. "It's so painful, it feels like my bones are breaking apart one by one." His leg then suddenly completely coiled up into the shape of a whip, completely losing its normal structure. "Damn, my leg is broken. Did the talent copying fail?" The next morning, rays of sunlight were shining through his bedroom window as he lay there on the floor motionless. He then suddenly gasped for air as if he had just been submerged underwater for 8 hours without oxygen. "What on earth happened? My feet seem normal again. In fact, my whole body feels 10 times lighter." Eager to test out his new speed ability, he practiced a taekwondo kick, and just like with the Silver Moon Fox, his body was enveloped with the same red aura. Etienne was completely surprised after observing the system interface as it now showed the novice tier speed talent. "I can't believe it. The talent copying was successful." Meanwhile, in a forest at the Linhai Base 5th Academy, a faint silhouette was dashing through the forest at such a high speed that it looked like a surging red thunderbolt. It was Etienne, who was brimming with delight after experiencing the incredible power of his newly acquired talent. After experimenting with his speed ability, he then went to find a rock to sit on and cultivate. "My speed should now be comparable to that of a martial warrior, but my overall power is still immensely lacking. If only I could find a way to increase my cultivation speed." At that moment, Fatty then approached him. "Hey, Etienne, so you're training here? I was wondering why I couldn't find you at the academy." After taking a closer at Etienne's physique, his expression then revealed a somewhat shocked face. "Damn bro, you're looking sturdy. You must have broken through to the martial apprentice realm, right?" After Etienne replied affirmatively, Fatty then cautiously lowered his voice. "Hey, do you want to get stronger even faster?" Etienne smirked. "Do you have a way?" Fatty then continued. "Bro, have you You ever drank monster blood? To tell you the truth, I was only improving faster than you because I drank monster blood. Yi Tian's eyes immediately widened as he thought, the blood of a monster has that kind of effect? Damn it, I could have gotten so much blood from that Silvermoon wolf. What a waste. Fatty then put on a persuasive tone as if he was a used car salesman. I have a way we can get our hands on some monster blood. Are you interested? Yi Tian, completely sold, impatiently asked Fatty how they could get the monster blood. It turns out that the higher-ups at the Lenhai base have opened up a new wild zone outside the city, specifically as an area exam for the 5 major academies, and the prize for the exam is monster blood. Upon hearing Fatty